I haven't done a video for a long while. Nearly a year, I think, actually. And a lot has happened in the last 10, 12 months or however long it's been since then. Both on a personal level and also, of course, globally. Internationally, a lot of things are going on. At some point, I'll probably throw my 2 cents worth in on various issues, both on, like I said, a personal, individual level, as well as on the things that are going on around the world. But not right now. Right now, instead, it's all about, I basically recently upgraded or updated, or however you want to put it, to Cubase 13 from Cubase 12. And what I did once I upgraded to Cubase 13 was to open up some old projects, like you do, and see if they still work, see if I could see any differences between how the projects worked in Cubase 12 compared to Cubase 13, that type of thing. I haven't really fully deeply explored Cubase 13 yet. There does seem to be a lot of things added to it that weren't in the previous version or the version before that, for that matter. But it's something that I still need to really explore. At the end of the day, I'm still using Reaper for like 85 to 90% of things that I do in terms of audio work. But occasionally I will open Logic. I've upgraded that as well, and or Cubase. You can probably see that currently what I have open is an instance of Maschine. If I zoom in, you can see that it's called Start of Something, which it was called because it was due to be the start of something. It was in fact an instance of Maschine that was set up as a track within this old Cubase project that I opened in Cubase 13 recently. There was basically three tracks in there. One of them was this instance of Maschine, and the other two were instances of Contact. But there was actually nothing in the project other than those three tracks with nothing on them. So anyway, I opened up the Maschine instance, and then from there I just, because I had it open, I just started fiddling about with it, and I came up with the beginning of something which sounds like this. Just a basic 8-bar loop. Now, of course, at some point I will be looking to add to that. Anyway, let's not worry about that. So I've got this basic groove going in Cubase. Well, not in Cubase, actually, in Maschine. And because I had Maschine open standalone, as opposed to being a tracking Cubase. I figured there's a lot of people who complain about, who've got Maschine and maybe they don't use it inside a door, or they use it with, just on its own. Whether or not they've got the Maschine Plus, which is of course the dedicated standalone hardware unit. As you can see, I don't have the dedicated standalone hardware unit. I have the old, and it is quite old in modern standard, by modern standards, it is quite old, the Maschine Studio. But it works. So there's no reason for me to get rid of it. Although, to be honest with you, more often than not, I'm using it in MIDI control mode, where I've programmed the various buttons and knobs and what have you to perform certain functions within Reaper. But because it was made to control Maschine, it can of course control Maschine, and that's what it's doing in this instance. So some people who use Maschine complain that there's not much, that once you've built your track, which obviously this isn't a track, it's just an 8-bar loop at the moment, but once you've built your track, that there's not much you can do with it in terms of manipulation. You can manipulate individual sounds and create in that way if that's how your mind works, but in terms of the finishing touches, the mixing and mastering process of it all, people think, well, it's kind of limited, and in a sense it is, because that's not really what it was intended for. It was, because it's something that can be used as a plugin, it's really intended for you, I think. I don't know, I don't work for NI, but I think that it's more intended to be a groove box which uses the power of the computer to provide the sounds and the calculations and stuff, but uses its own hardware. So a lot of people, and I have to admit that I was one of them, when I first encountered Maschine, I thought it was like the MPC, where actually everything was self-contained. And of course, now that they've got the Maschine Plus, that is the case. But it's not really that. And I don't think it was really meant to be that. But it was meant to be similar to that. And again, most people who use an MPC will then track out into a DAW or onto tape or whatever and mix from there rather than mixing on the MPC. But because the Maschine is a computer program, you can insert things into it. And what I discovered, just by pissing about basically, was this. If I open up this, you'll see I've got start of something standalone. I didn't change anything in there, not anything worth changing, so I'll do that as a discard rather than a save. So this is the same project, but you might have noticed something. Let me see if I've got the right angle for you to actually see what's going on. I have console 1 connected to Maschine. Allow me to demonstrate. So now So now I can solo and mute things without having, I mean, there's solo and mute on the Maschine controller as well, especially the Studio, which has more dedicated buttons on it than any of the other versions of the hardware. But I don't even have to reach over there now because it's literally right in front of me. I can use my console 1 to mix Maschine. So if you happen to have Maschine and console 1, Bob's your uncle. And that's basically the long and the short of today's video. I will do more. I intend to do a video explaining my mixing console, my analog mixing console, which as opposed to the mixing console within a DAW or whatever. Not everybody is on the same, in the same place in terms of their learning, in terms of their knowledge. So I've made videos in the past where I've kind of assumed that you're there with me, but I can't really assume that. Some people, especially younger people, because as you can see, I'm no spring chicken, especially younger people may never have come across a mixing desk, and they might not know what all of these different things do. So I thought to myself, be a good idea if I just explained it, and then it'll make it easier for people to follow along with what I'm doing in any future videos. So my next first or second after this video will probably be about my mixing desk and how it operates. I would do it now, but I don't really have time. I'm hungry. I've just come home from work, and I've got to get something in my belly. I don't know if you can hear my belly rumbling or not, but I've got to get something in my belly. So I'm not going to do it now. But at some point over the next few videos, I will do that. And if there's anything in particular that you're curious about, put it in the comments and I'll try and explain it. Okay? Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time, or not. Either way, do something that makes you happy.